Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is episode 104, and I'm recording on August 21st, 2025, same day I watched the movie. And the movie was The Long Voyage Home. Long Voyage Home is a 1940 American drama film directed by John Ford. It stars John Wayne, Thomas Mitchell, and Ian Hunter. It features Barry Fitzgerald, Wilfred Lawson, John Quaylen, Mildred Natwick, and Ward Bond. Thomas Mitchell was he was in Stagecoach with John Wayne, also directed by John Ford. And he was in Gone with the Wind, and he was just in something else, Our Town, I think. Anyway, the film was adapted by Dudley Nichols from the plays The Moon of the Caribbees, In the Zone, Bound East for Cardiff, and The Long Voyage Home by Eugene O'Neill. The original plays by Eugene O'Neill were written around the time of World War I and were among his earlier plays. Ford set the story for the motion picture, however, during the early days of World War II. While not one of Ford's best-known works, The Long Voyage Home continues to be well-received. Film critics and scholars have noted Greg Toland's distinctive cinematography, which serves as a precursor of the film noir aesthetic, and hinted at his work for Orson Welles' film Citizen Kane. Produced by John Ford and Walter Wanger. Cinematography, Greg Toland. Edited by Sherman Todd. Music by Richard Hageman. Production companies, Walter Wanger Productions. His name is Wanger. Sorry, I'm a child. Argosy Corporation and distributed by United Artists. Release date October 8th, 1940, with a runtime of 105 minutes. It's nominated for 6 Academy Awards, and it did not win any of them. Outstanding production, best screenplay, best cinematography, black and white, best film editing, best original score, and best special effects. A couple of things. So I didn't love this movie. I gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. It was a little boring to me, and because of that, I was in and out a little bit, like paying attention, which is my own thing. But it just didn't hold my attention that well. And there were moments that were good, but it was kind of all over the place. Like it was a little, I don't know, it was a little random, the things that happened. Like there were several kind of different stories going on, and then they're on a secret mission and to carry ammunition across the ocean or something. And then guys are trying to desert, and there's other, I don't know. To me, the story was kind of all over the place. And maybe that was because I wasn't paying full attention. I don't know. But I think it's probably not one of Ford's best known works because it's not one of his best works. There was a very impressive, which I can see why I was nominated for special effects. There was a very impressive storm scene. For 1940 standards, you look at it now and you can tell that they're just on a set and, throwing water at it and stuff. But it was still very, very good, very impressive. There was also an airstrike scene which looked like they may have just been on the ocean and just dropping bombs into the water. I'm not sure how they did that. One other thing to note, I noticed about halfway through that there was a split diopter shot. And there's a guy, I'm probably going to say this guy's name wrong. There's a guy, Vashi Nedemansky, that I followed on Twitter. And he would always use a cinematographer, I believe, and he would always point out split diopter shots. And so a split diopter shot is where they take a special lens that can shoot 2 different perspectives. So not perspectives, but you can have a person in the foreground and a person or a subject in the background, and both of them are in focus, whereas normally you either have foreground or background in focus. This special lens allows you to have focus on both, but you still sort of can see the depth and everything. So they are often very noticeable. And so I was looking it up, and this guy and it turns out that this movie had the very first split diopter shots ever. And not 1, but 2. And the one that I noticed was the second. The first one I did not realize was split diopter. It was very well hidden. And this one actually was too. It's just that you can kind of tell that because John Wayne was like super close on the right, and then there was another guy in the background on the left they were both in focus. It's something that if you know what it is, then you'll notice it in movies. And this Vashi Netamansky guy, I'm definitely butchering his name, and I apologize. He points out he has a list of like all the movies that have split diopters. It's kind of cool. So I won't spend too much time here, too much more time here. I didn't love it. It was and one thing at the end, I did not realize this till the end that John Wayne was supposed to be Swedish. They were trying to get him home. He wanted to like leave the ship and make some money, leave the ship, and start a farm. And the crew was trying to make sure that that happened after they went on this mission. And they called him Ole. His name was Olson, something like that. And when Ole Olson, yeah. But I didn't notice it until they were in a bar and everybody was drinking, but he wasn't because they didn't want him to get drunk and then forget to go on the boat or beach, miss the boat that was going to take him back to Sweden. And he ordered a ginger beer, but he said Ynyer beer, and I had the subtitles on, so it actually spelled it Ynyer. And I thought he was just being silly. And then they were like telling the bartender, "Oh, he means ginger beer." And then he kept saying it. And then I finally noticed that he was trying to do sort of an accent, and it was real bad. And I don't know why John Ford would have done that to John Wayne, but it was kind of like Spencer Tracy was in one of the movies I watched. It was Captain's Courageous, where he played Manuel, who was supposed to be Portuguese, and he had a very bad accent, and it was reminiscent of that. But and then the ending was just another bleak sort of ending that like a lot of endings around that time. So I don't know. This one didn't do it for me. Definitely think this one I really didn't like Our Town, which was the last one I watched. I think I like this one slightly better just because of some of the visuals and stuff. But still second to last so far. So I won't go on any longer here. I'll see you next time.